Hello, I have CPTSD, and I'm also a musician and I'm an artist. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about, how that's affected me and kind of, I guess, so for those who don't know, this is my experience and kind of my interpretation. I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist or whatever. But CPTSD is basically when, for me, the abuse growing up was so chronic and so incessant that it no longer became safe to be myself, and I had to dissociate and depersonalize from who I was and basically interact with the world from a distance to protect the core of who I was. Basically, like my who I was under so much constant threat, and I was never sure when there was going to be a threat, when to relax. I was always constantly walking on eggshells for 24 years while I was in those environments with my caretakers. And because of that, it's like you wake up one day and you realize that you've been doing your whole life with, for me, who I actually was and what I actually want stowed far, 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 far away. So like, let's say I love music. Music is like my deepest passion in life. But it was not safe. In no world would it have been safe for me to emotionally express myself honestly and share that. So I had to do it through the prism of art forms that were not really what I wanted to do. I was a jazz musician for 10 years. I went to conservatory and studied jazz. And it's like I had to cram everything I wanted to express into jazz because that was an acceptable place to cram it. I'm sure people feel the same thing with classical music or whatever. Same thing with cartooning. I was a cartoonist, like in the style of like Bill Watterson, the funny papers, newspaper comics. And for cartooning, it's not like this, basically all of my expression and feelings had to be put into 3 panels that ended with a joke. So in that instance, I was still kept safe and far away from the abuse. And none of this is conscious. The only reason I'm able to articulate this is because I've literally had 200 therapy sessions in the last 2 years. That's the only reason I can even articulate this. Thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of work just to be able to say this with any clarity. Before this, basically life just sucked. It just sucked. And I think a lot of people with CPTSD feel this way. And it's not like you can just snap out of it. Your brain and your entire body and nervous system has grown up. You have been formed by your life from basically from birth, if it's your parents or if it's your grandparents or caretaker or foster care system, whatever. Your whole body is wired to think that being yourself is dangerous. And unfortunately, if you're still surrounded by family who were the perpetrators, by whoever the bully was, your siblings, if you're still around them, or friends, if you're still around them, it's literally not safe. It's still literally not safe. So it's this crazy, arduous process of changing all the friends you have who either hold you in that place or even treat you like shit. It's realizing how many people in your life, in my case it was damn near everyone, treated me like shit. Like were mean. And the only way for me to stay in those dynamics was for me to take on a smaller role. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. But I just want to talk for a sec about art and music, because like I said, I was a jazz musician. It was what I had to do in order to be safe while expressing myself. I'm just looking at the camera to make sure like my phone doesn't die. Then, got away from the abusers, cut out like all my friends, broke with my girlfriend who actually turns out was a lesbian. Like that's how deep it went, is I chose somebody who could never, ever, ever want me. Whatever. That's my own personal stuff. But fast forward, I'm like 26, and I desperately want to make art that resonates with me and matters to me, but it's just this like incredibly, making art that's honest is hard in the is hard in the best of circumstances, because our culture and our society does not reward us as for being ourselves. It rewards money, it rewards fame, all that stuff. If you can be yourself and make art and then make a lot of money, then you'll be respected. But it's only because you have the money. Like even Lady Gaga, you think a finance bro would respect somebody like her? I don't think so. Or Phoebe Bridgers, you think a finance bro would respect her? The powers that be do not support weirdos. That's why everyone hides their quirks and weirdness. Anyway, with CPTSD, this becomes 10 times harder, 50 times harder, 100 times harder, because not only do you just have the normal societal whatever, you also have never had a safe space ever. And you have to become your first safe space. Profoundly hard. And salutes to anyone on this journey of doing this who has CPTSD. Maybe there's probably tons of other types of trauma and abuse that put you in the same place, but specifically I'm talking about people with CPTSD right now. So salutes to you and congrats to you. And now I finally feel like, after leaving all those friendships, going no contact with my parents for like 4 years, all this stuff, I finally feel like there is actually a light at the end of the tunnel, which is crazy. Years of being suicidal, because who wouldn't be suicidal if who you are is completely impossible in your current circumstance? That's the definition of not wanting to live. When you're who you are, it can't be. So, I might do another series on this, because I think it would be kind of interesting to like listen to some of my songs with you, because they deal with this stuff in a lot of ways overtly, like CPTSD. And I have not heard, I'm not just saying this to clap myself on the back, I've not heard or been able to find music and art that's like really, really, really directly out of it lived in experience with CPTSD. And maybe if I share this, other people who have CPTSD and stuff will start to talk about it. I still feel like this whole thing is under wraps a little bit. So anyway, thank you for watching this. If you stayed till the end, oh my God, please say hi, because that's really special. Yeah, thanks for listening. I don't really know. I just kind of wanted to talk about this, so bye.